welcome Seema Mandral Negi. Dr. Seema, I'll call you like that.
Seema is good enough, sir. Namaskar.
She is,
so honored to be here.
Yeah. She is into academics. She is advisor to sports. She is into Rotary Club. Many academic related activities, public life. Rarely we find teachers who turns into academic head, gets close to academics and life coach. That is part of their profession, but doing it as close to heart and telling that yes, I am a life coach. Rarely we see teachers like that, or maybe head of institutions like that, because the time is spent more on administration. But we have here Dr. Seema Mandral Negi. Maybe all of us are eager to know, where did you start and how did you land upon this platform, where today you are. Maybe a brief on that.
So first of all, namaskar everyone, and thank you so much for calling me on this platform, and especially today. Today is a very important day. As we all know, we are celebrating Kargil Vijay Divas, and my background is from Air Force, so I cannot tell you how happy I am to be associated on this platform, especially today. Anyway, getting pearls of wisdom from Dr. Sashi Kumar is always like enriching yourself. I mean, I think listening to you upskills us, listening to you gives us a different kind of hope that yes, there is so much to learn. You know, I think after listening to you, we go to some kind of introspective mode. What is there that we are not doing properly? And there is so much that we can take from our history and we can present it to our children. So how did I come to academics, or say education is a long story. I'll keep it short. I'm a very outdoor person. There is nothing that ends with ing that I have not done, whether it's gliding, parasailing, rifle shooting, playing hockey, gliding, everything. Any new ing which are added now, I might have to try, but I have done that. But then there was something which made me connect to children was when you have so much of real life experience, the best place to work with is young minds. You can share so much with them. I started my journey with corporate, but from corporate I moved to education sector, and after that there was no looking back. And I know there is no looking back now, because every morning the motivation is that you can change so many lives, and nothing is more pleasurable than being in the class. Principal is just a position. That is just a chair. I really, if you ask me, that is not the chair I would like to associate myself for a very, very longer time. I would like to see myself in the classroom with my students discussing everything. And that passion, I think, brought me here. And as I told you, then there's no looking back, sir.
I was looking at the meaning of your name, the mid name, and I was not able to locate.
That's my paternal name. That's a surname.
Is it that Negi is famous, Seema is Negus famous, but Mandral?
Yeah, it's a very rare surname. It is a surname that, as I told you, I got it from my parents, and I'm very proud of it. So I thought, why do we divide ourselves after marriage and we just become a different surname? Why not have both the surnames together? So that is how it is, Seema Mandral Negi.
Is it from Maharashtra, or is it from Jharkhand, or?
It is from Uttaranchal.
Uttaranchal, yeah, okay.
Yes.
I know another Mandral, so that's why I asked. So he was from that area, north, but not in Maharashtra. So I got really confused. Yeah. Good. So where do we go? What India needs?
So, if you ask from my perspective what India needs, I think from an educator's perspective, India really needs to know our roots when we talk about education. Because, at times we are so focused with what West is giving us. But when we look back, we see how rich, how glorious our country was. There is nothing that our rishis, munis, or the scholars did not know. So give us those pearls of wisdom which are there from our history, from I will not say from our Vedas or Upanishads. We know we have experimented with so many things in past. So how do we connect it to the real life situation today?
Does it mean that the history, what is learned in the classroom, is not giving them the pulse of Indian roots?
Honestly, it is not.
So who has to be blamed?
All of us, me also. Honestly, we are the one who are teaching them what is there in the book. History is much more beyond books.
Is it not our education has become only certification?
It is. So education is honestly just marks oriented. It is not life oriented. And I think that change, that revolution is really needed, that we need to be more life oriented. We need to prepare our children for life, for future challenges, not just for this degree or marks. But if you see the entire scenario, everybody is running behind that. So that chain needs to be broken.
Dr. Seema, I must have given around 100 NEP lectures after the NEP came out. I remember one of the prestigious college where they asked me to give an NEP lecture. I spoke totally what was told by Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan. And the end, everybody appreciated, yes sir, you have covered NEP thoroughly. Then I said, this is exactly what we were talking for last 50 years or 60 years. And no change in anything where we started is where we are still today. University was specifically defined in the beginning when we wanted to establish university, and it is said that we should have university which is a place where everything can be learned. But then we had veterinary university, agriculture university, medical university, technical university, exactly opposite to what was the word university itself is become a big mockery. Traditionally, teachers had a great respect. Probably when Dr. Seema told that you are from corporate, you reached into schools. I'll tell you, we celebrate Teachers' Day because our teacher became a president. I keep talking on Teachers' Day as invited guest, and I say, you are all foolish fellows. You are celebrating when a teacher becomes a president. Instead, you should celebrate a day when a president becomes a teacher. Is it not that every teacher, when we find they all want to work because that is the most leisure job, not because they are molding the brains of the next generation? What is your take on this, and what can be done to change this?
So honestly telling you, many of the people, they come into this profession because they feel it's a half-day job. Okay, so after that they have a lot of time, they can give time to their family, other things, and few hours job. So, okay, there is nothing else to do, let's become a teacher. But then with this attitude, I think we have seen where education system is going on. If the passion is not there, purpose is not there, then I think people should not become teacher. Because we often say that the destiny of the nation is groomed in its classroom. Then what kind of destiny is getting ready when we have people who have just taken this as their fallback profession? So teaching should not be fallback profession. That is something wherein you generate your passion. Happens. Many of us might have come to teaching by not by choice but by chance. But then make it your choice. Otherwise, don't be in this profession. That's my lookout. And I think profession itself is not the right word when I talk about teaching.
Because today you are steering a school, may not be fully under your control. You don't have freedom what to do, because parents also demand to run the same style, same stream. You cannot make all of a different system. But what extra mile you run?
I think it's only extra mile that we are running. So it's the 4th year of school, and let me start. This school we started in 2018, and we were very specific since from the beginning that if you are only looking for, say, math, science, English, Hindi, then this might not be the right school for you. If you are looking for something which is very holistic, wherein behind a child, a parent and school stands together, then this is the school for you. So a lot of times we have given the narrative of Jagannath Puri Rath Yatra. That when we talk of Jagannath Puri Rath Yatra, we talk about a chariot wherein gods and goddesses they sit, and then we have one team which pulls the chariot and other team who cheers for them. So if imagine that our children are sitting on the chariot, and when we as teachers are pulling the chariot, we want parents to cheer. And when parents are pulling the chariot, the school should cheer. So since from the beginning we are working on a collaboration model, and I am strictly against tuitions. So my parents know it openly that no tuitions. We say you come and ask, let the child ask, because the art of questioning is dying. They just go to Google or they go to their tuition classes. They do not come and ask their teachers. Trying to break the cliches, trying to break the mindset that education is beyond your marks and grades. So I will not say that I am 100% successful in that, but yes, still to some extent parents are understanding, and they are also understanding the generational disparity that we tell them. Their children, the difference between their children and them, their expectation, their children cannot live. So that is what something we are different, we are very value centric, but still we do not have any value education period. You cannot teach values in 35 minutes. You need to live the talk. So you need each and every value we have to demonstrate, then only our children can follow. These are few of the practices we are following.
What is that a parent really want a teacher to teach their children? What? Is it maths, physics, chemistry, or is it not at all required? Because they are in race for getting admission into different best universities, everywhere entrance exam. So if you don't give them that sort of a preparation, is it not they will lag behind? And that is why I don't know whether you have seen the movie Cheat India. Have you seen, Dr. Seema, the movie Cheat India?
No.
That's a wonderful movie. I want all teachers to see that. There are beautiful movies. I generally prescribe at least 10 movies for teachers to go through. There we know that entrance exam is one of the biggest problem where most of the people are preparing for that. Even 10th class or 11th or 12th is, I am from Hyderabad. Nearly 15 years back, we have children who go for tuitions to get admission in some of the coaching centers. To get admission in coaching center, you need to write an entrance exam for which you have to go for tuition somewhere else. And children stay in their masters' houses so that early morning and late night, they don't even stay with the parents. It's after the school, directly go home, pack your food, second trip, night class. Morning, come back home, get ready, pack your tiffin, go to schools. There are two institutions in Hyderabad, which is called Chaitanya and Narayana. Remember 2 years back on Youth Day, I was talking to a lot of youth and I was telling, That is where the COVID started during that time. The first, I said the China war started now, but in Hyderabad, China war is there for long years. It's called China virus, Chaitanya Narayana virus. Because both Chaitanya and Narayana compete each other, they grab them. It's called corporate schools. They don't cover the syllabus, no, including practicals are not done. They all manage it somehow to pass. It's only competition, and it's true that Andhra, especially Hyderabad, is the place where maximum number of students reach IIT. Maximum number from India, if you look at the IIT, it is from. So is it not a big competition? Because it's the speed which is seen in examination where you will have to practice it. It is not the logic. It is. I don't think I will pass an IIT entrance exam mathematics even today with my PhD in mathematics. Logically, I may be right, but I may not have that speed. And probably I will have to undergo that 2 years rigorous race programs, where I know how to practice it. So how do you place? And why government is not? Government knows. The number of tuition centers and coaching centers make more money than the government institutions, and still we have stupid government who are supporting this. If somebody is running a hotel without a specified parameters, they go and raid them. But institutions, they can run any. Tuition centers, teachers can run tuition center. You don't have to test yourself that you are qualified to run a tuition center. Why government is not being involved? What can be done to do this? Is it not that the worst, I keep saying, the other day also I was telling, if I was talking to Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan students the other day, I was telling them on the Guru Purnima day, if I am teaching mathematics and my student goes for tuition for mathematics, I must commit suicide. I am feeding somebody, and immediately after having breakfast in my house, after my breakfast, he or she goes to a hotel and eat tiffin again. What does it mean? I have not fed them properly, right? So I must congratulate Seema for that bold, Dr. Seema for that bold step saying that no tuitions. This is the only thing probably I keep talking to most of the teachers and students. Teachers, you have to quit your job if your students are going for tuition, if they are not coming to you for doubt. Correct? So I congratulate you on that. But then how you make your children to equip for this entrance examination is my question.
So now from grade 9 onwards, we start mentoring them. Now each and every child has a mentor. Now this mentor's responsibility, mentor then becomes like a foster parent. I was a mentor for my children for so many years for my students. And teachers take care of their academic needs. If suppose a child is not able to understand a particular problem in maths, it is mentor teacher's responsibility to ensure that those one-to-one sessions are conducted with the responsible teacher, the teacher who is teaching them in school, and the doubts are solved. See, there are various options. The only thing is, are we ready to take that extra mile? That extra mile might be a lot of hard work from teacher's side, lot of time from teacher's side, but again, when it is passion driven and when it is backed by your school, what we do, we believe in a very simple theory, sir. Happy teachers equates to happy students equates to happy parents, and happy parents then reflect back to happy students. We ensure our teachers are trained and their skills are sharpened. We are always very open to send them wherever it is possible, so that at least they can get that knowledge. And the basic rule is, if you go and get yourself trained, you have to come and train 3 teachers. And those 3 teachers will then again train 3 teachers. Because when one person trains a group of 50 people, somewhere down the line that personalized attention is missed. So we want everybody to get trained if one teacher goes for training. Even if a math teacher is going for training, it is her responsibility that that particular concept or that way of teaching needs to reach to a Hindi teacher also and English teacher also. Subject might be different, but you can integrate everything. The methodology can be same, the pedagogy can be same. So we are investing a lot on our teachers so that they invest that in our students. And that is needed. And next is that push that is needed. We all keep on giving push to each other. We are trying to break that cliche that usually women do not support women, because basically our school also have a lot of female teachers. I always say if women support women, I think the kind of society we are living in will become a better place to live. So trying to uplift everyone together, and we have got good support from our parents, but the journey is still very long. It will still take time.
Is it Bombay is the right place to start, or somewhere else in India if you want to duplicate this?
Anywhere, anywhere.
But Bombay have got a very, very special style because parents don't have time for their children, right?
But parents are very demanding. They don't have time, but they are very demanding. I mean, it has become more like a corporate culture, or in a very layman term, a very mall culture. We have given the money, we want the services.
I remember on a lighter note when I went to one of the schools in Bombay, so they were asking how to make these admissions double. Is it by improving the teaching methodology, or what can be done? Assume that Dr. Seema want to improve your admissions to double next year. What can be done?
It's very simple. What I am doing, I will tell that only, because from last 4 years, every year we have almost doubled the admission. We started with 364 in 2018. Today we are 1248, and if this pandemic year wouldn't have been there, we would have crossed 1500. We were very good with our stats. We do one simple thing. Every parent that comes to school, okay, first thing is they are someone who are visiting our place. How when guests come to our place, there is a thumb rule, whether you have admission, whether you do not have admission, every parents need to be called inside, make them sit, offer them water, tea, coffee, everything, make them comfortable, ask them what they are looking for, take them for a school round, and then we arrange for an orientation. Usually we have Sunday orientation, which I personally do. And then we tell them about the school's philosophy, ideology, everything. And trust me, most of the time we tell them something which is beyond English, Hindi, math, science. Because for English, Hindi, math, science, we have our empowered faculty and teachers who will take care of the child's need. But is it something that parents want beyond academics also? Or they are just academic-centric parent who wants us to produce robot and give? We don't want to produce robot and give. We might have 10 admission less, but the students who are there in our school, the children, they are the one who will make a difference. I know it's a very, very long journey and a very big battle, but I firmly believe in that, and something is there that if you believe, then that resonates in your talk, resonates in your philosophy, and I have a very good support from my management. This is how we are moving ahead. We have good support from our parents, teacher. Like usually schools have PTA, Parent Teacher Association. We don't have PTA, we have PTSA, Parent Teacher Student Alliance. Why do we have PTA if we are not listening to students? Parents and teachers both are working for students. So who is listening to students' voice? So all the PTA meetings have students because it is their voice that matters. Very small things we are doing. I'll not say that we are doing something which is entirely different, but we are just doing it in a different manner. And appreciation is the key for everything. Whether it's a child or it's a parent or it's a teacher, we need to genuinely appreciate them. And that we do very often.
Language is important, or literature is important, or maths or science is important for India in the next generations to come?
Everything is important along with collaboration. Each and every subject is intertwined with each other. To understand literature, you need to have good linguistic skills also. To understand your math and science, you need to know your language. Otherwise, how do you understand the complexity of word problems? Everything is intertwined, but it might happen that a child is not good in everything. That doesn't mean that the child is not capable of doing something. So I feel everything is important. A balance of language, literature, maths, science is needed so that the child can then decide the path that he or she wants to pursue.
But I have seen most of the time, having seen probably millions of students, my experience, if a student is good, they are good in almost everything. Irrespective of whether maths, physics, chemistry, biology, social science, language, literature, if they start loving one of the topic, that only means maybe the teacher is very good. Maybe they have a wonderful teacher that year, they love that, and probably next year, yeah, it keeps continuing, or they start loving it more. Do you think that the primary, you have school running from nursery, LKG, UKG,
Yes.
and you are up to now which grade?
Up to now, grade 9 this year.
Yeah. It's state syllabus or?
It's ICSE.
I see. See, is it not a confusion that we have different syllabus and then people keep talking about which is good? Why India? NEP had a big plan, merging all the, but I don't think it's going to happen because there are a lot of different role players.
Right.
Central syllabus, central government. State syllabus, state government. And people keep asking, we have central officers placed in all the capital cities or probably district headquarters, and they keep transferring. If they get into state syllabus, it will become collapse. And we have a lot of justification for sustaining it. Do you think the NEP will run in at least 50% or 20% of what is envisaged?
Again, it depends upon the school leader how they want to implement it. See, I don't mind whether it's state syllabus or CBSE or ICSE or, as a matter of fact, IGCSE. I was in IGCSE board for last 10 years and then I started establishing this school. When you see the syllabus by the time a child comes to grade 10, if there are certain concepts like trigonometry needs to be done or plants and animal science needs to be done, they will be done in all the boards. Maybe the way of teaching will be different. IGCSE will be more of application based, maybe SSC will be more of rote learning based, or they will do a lot of do as directed kind of sums. But at the end of the day, everybody reaches to a certain level which is needed by the universal standard so that the child is ready for grade 11 and 12th, and after 12th ready for the competitive examination. Yes, somewhere the roads are more difficult, somewhere the roads are easy. Now let's take an example of the international board, that is IGCSE. Now, Cambridge board gives calculators to students from grade 8. Most of the Indian parents say, if the child is using calculator from grade 8, that means the mental calculation of child will not develop and the child will face difficulty while writing the competitive examinations. Initially, yes, we did face this issue, but then children, they understood. The moment they used to pass their grade 10, they used to take a quick short-term course, or the moment they used to pass their grade 12, again a short-term course, and they could compete with everyone. So children are more adaptable. It's we sometimes as educators and parents, we have blockage in our minds when it comes to boards. I feel whether it's states board or it's IB board, as per your potential to what you can give to your child, select the board. And don't select the board, select the school. Because apart from your curriculum, there is something called hidden curriculum, that is the school's ecosystem and culture. Nobody comes to school and asks, what is your culture? Everybody asks, what are the subjects you are offering? How many foreign languages? What is the qualification of your teachers? But apart from what happens in the classroom, what happens on the corridor, on the playground, on the school buses, that is what shapes a child. So if IQ is important, EQ, SQ, AQ, everything is equally important. I am very open for any board, any syllabus. It is up to teacher how the teacher is teaching. Who has told that SSC teacher cannot teach the way international teachers are teaching? Teacher has to bring the class alive. The creativity lies in the hands of teacher. That's my take, sir.
So, our teachers education program, B.Ed, The government says 1 year is not enough, 2 years are required. Probably we have regional education centers. I know you must be aware of the Regional Institute of Education, where we have in South India, Mysore, only few states. From those states have to come. The graduation plus B.Ed is combined for last years. I have seen most of the time those teachers make a lot of difference. Is it not the education training need to be like uh, probably including the administration of ISRO is by scientists? Because
So
we believe
I missed you in between. I think there is some lag in the audio or video. But what I understand when it comes to teachers training is, see, most of the teachers, when we talk about India, we follow the law of the land. So everybody does their B.Ed. What we need to see first is what we are learning in a B.Ed school. Are we really following that in a classroom? I mean, all the teachers who are sitting there, how much that you have learned in your B.Ed, have you really implemented in the classroom? Are we just learning theories, or we are bringing those theories back to practical? Because these days, we really do not need, I mean, if you are a teacher who is passionate enough to teach your child anything, you have ample amount of resource. What is not there? Google gives you everything, everything. But do we know how to use it properly? So I think whenever, I mean, if we talk about different ways how learning landscapes are changing for higher education also, and for, say, Teachers Training Institute also, I think it needs to become more realistic. The things which are redundant, the things which needs to be eliminated should be eliminated. We have seen our textbooks are becoming thicker and thicker and thicker. New things are added, but the one which is not needed is not getting eliminated. So somewhere that balance is needed. Policymakers need to understand that the generation that teachers are going and teaching is not the same generation who we were. So somewhere down the line, we need to understand it's not, we often say that this generation do not understand us. But then the generations are different. These are digital natives. They are equipped with their digital etiquettes. So why don't we sometimes change ourselves? We want to change the world. Nobody wants to change himself or herself. Sometimes we as a teachers have to take this responsibility that if we want to be change makers, if we want to really shape our nation, the change begins from us. And the change also begins from all the teaching institute, the B.Ed institute. We have to change many things which are really not prevalent in education sector. We need to bring back the application-based module. I think we need to bring back what our Gurukul system used to do. In Gurukul system, I mean, it was the first institution wherein application-based learning was taught. We talk about Finland, we talk about Netherlands, we talk about all the lands. It's very simple. Reflect back to your motherland. Everything India had, but we think out. So whatever is coming from West is very beautiful, very fancy. So rather than Yog Mudras, we say mindfulness. So mindfulness, everybody wants to practice mindfulness, but what is mindfulness? Was it not originated from India? So we wait for the West to give us something, again repack, and we like that packing and we want to implement. I feel everything is there. Our roots are so strong. Why we are not working on those roots? I mean, that's a big question I always ask my parents also, why we are not working on our roots. Aren't we proud of who we are? A country which was always a knowledge destination. We had Nalanda, we had Takshila. We are that country, we are that nation. And NEP says that the entire NEP, the document, it says that India will become the knowledge destination which India always was. So who has this responsibility? Somewhere down the line, each one of us have to take that responsibility.
I generally feel that administrators, so-called IAS, they are the rulers, they are the instructors. Anything which happens in academics also, the head is an IAS. Is it not that academicians need to be ruled by academicians only? Assume that you have got 100 schools in a district. Why not have a panel of principals who makes rules, maybe who makes syllabus which is locally applicable, look at whether it is running right or not, instead of having a centralized system where most of the time it is getting diluted because the same structure of administration is followed in academics. Do we think that such a system, probably it is not too much of administration? Instead of that, you will have little more liberal. See, for example, every district we had Navodaya Vidyalayas, which was a big dream for India by Rajiv Gandhi. It is there everywhere. Once it is established, during that time the idea was 30 acres of land is not a small joke. That is a must for Navodaya Vidyalayas. That is supposed to be the center of help for most of the other academic institutions in and around. That is there in the vision document. But I don't think any other schools are using it in that sense, nor Navodaya Vidyalaya opened up. So establishing something happens in one way, but running it happens in another way. Is it not academic administrators need to get oriented for these sort of a, instead of competition, a collaboration, so that the next generation will become good?
Completely agree. Because when policy makers are different, they do not understand the pulse of academics, they just formulate documents and they give it to school. And the schools or states, they have to run it. So where is the liberty for teachers to experiment? Not that teachers are not creative, not that they do not want to go out of their way to make the change. Trust me, each and every teacher wants to give their best to students. And this pandemic has taught us that they have actually reached out to everyone. They do not want to leave any child behind. But when their work is not appreciated, instead it is considered as that they are deviating from the syllabus. What will teachers do? Ultimately, they will have to follow that rote method that, okay, there are 10 sums, you have to do 10 sums, then you have to do so much of homework, and then you have to keep on revising, because that is how the documentation needs to be done at the end of the day. The logbook needs to be maintained that way. So there should be a collaboration, as you said. Yes, even if the policymakers are not from education background or academics background, there should be a collaboration between academia and the policymakers, so that they understand where the shoe is really biting. That nobody is trying to really understand. We talk about students, we talk about parents, we talk about policymakers, we talk about administrators. Why we do not talk about what teachers are looking for? Where are teachers? Teachers are just change maker, they are nation builders, but who actually asks what teachers want to do? How many times we have deliberation like at the state level or national level wherein teachers' view is taken into consideration? That openness is not there. Yes, there are so many times documents float that, okay, write your ideas and teachers can give the ideas how to change the syllabus, how to change the books and all. But where is the transparency in that? So somewhere down the line, the one who is responsible to change the future, the one who is responsible to make the nation is unheard, badly unheard, and very, very badly paid also at some of the institution. Lesser discussed, much better, but it is happening. There are most of the teachers. How many teachers have lost their job because of pandemic? How many teachers are getting the pay cut because of pandemic? Why is teaching not a priority? Why education is not a priority? Health is priority. Isn't education a priority? The gap that has come because of 1 year, who is going to fill the gap? That burden will come on teachers only next year. Parents will say, you have to teach my child this. I am paying the fees. So why teachers are never taken into consideration?
Dr. Seema, if your 9th class social science teacher writes the social science test paper, will she get 100 out of 100?
She will.
Do you think all your teachers are fit enough to teach because they are also good learners?
Yes.
You
have a policy in our school.
You said teachers are less paid. I'll tell you, 90% of the teachers will fail. In the same paper which their students are writing, the students may get 100%, but teachers will fail.
Yes, that scenario is there. That scenario is there. So when teachers have taken the job not because they wanted to bring a change or they had the passion, they have taken it as okay, it's a part-time job. This is 8 to 3 job or 8 to 2 job. Definitely we will see this thing because not everybody is at par with each other. Not everybody is a person who want to upskill or unlearn or relearn. We have people who are so complacent. They're so complacent. They feel, okay, our work is just take the textbook and teach this much. Beyond that, they do not go. So there should be some, B.Ed should not be the only criteria for a teacher to get a job in the school. The rule should be, I think, something different.
No, that is why I said it is not B.Ed. Assume that you want to make your teacher to continue for the next year and you give a syllabus for teaching. First make them to write that exam and show that they pass. I am sure most of the teachers will leave their job.
So
Why teachers are not paid that well? Because it is not highly competitive.
Right.
And therefore the best brain do not come. I am sure it is always why people go for BTech and get into a technical job, because teachers are paid only 6,000 rupees where BTech is paid 25,000 rupees. So it matters how much you pay. Their competitions will be there, and when competitions are there, definitely you will have to show that you are much more better than somebody else. That means there is a see, for you have competition for being an engineer, you have competition for being a doctor, you have competition for being an administrator, IAS. For every, even a clerical post, UPSC or PSC or any KPSC or whichever, all of them conduct examination. But anybody who gets a B.Ed, any private fellow can appoint, and you can make them teachers, and they can say, I have got 20 years of experience. What is 20 years of experience? Same syllabus, same class, same teaching, same history. History doesn't change. How much they get updated themselves, how much passion they have, how many teachers will spend their own money for improving themselves? Hardly we see. But whereas if you be a insurance agent, you have to pay your own pocket money to improve your skill of marketing. Otherwise, you cannot get business. Here is a business where the product quality is not depend on the teachers. They will say parents are like that. Your background is like that. Otherwise, they say in the earlier grade they did not perform well. Therefore, this year they could not cope up. How many teachers takes the responsibility and be equipped themselves to take this challenge is a big question.
So again, I believe that the entire school's ecosystem plays a major role in that, because most of the time we will see, even if the school leaders or principal, I mean, if they are the one who are complacent with everything, who do not have the attitude of learning, because attitude of lifelong learning, at the same time providing opportunity to teachers. It's okay if teachers are not ready to spend. Is the school ready to spend for teachers training? Is the school empowering the teachers? Because at the end of the day, teachers are performing for your students. When our teachers come for interview, there are two mandatory things. One is they write one subject-specific paper, and one, everybody has to write an English essay. If they are English, math, science teacher, if they are Marathi or Hindi teacher, they write Hindi essay. This is mandatory, because when they write, and for the demo, we tell them to tell a story. You tell a story, you understand, okay, where the person is lacking in creativity, in grammar, in everything. Concept, the moment you give them, you have to teach this concept. We know whatever concept is coming there in front of you, the same thing will never happen in class. The same thing never happens in class, because all the teaching aids and everything comes during demo only. That really doesn't happen in the class many of the time. So yes, from our end also, I think we have to create an ecosystem of lifelong learning, and we have to provide those wings to our teachers also. We always want to provide wings to our children to explore. We have to provide wings to our teachers to explore. Most of the principals are worried that they will train teachers and they will leave and go. But it's okay, they will leave and go. They will be an asset to the society. Imagine if you will not train the teacher and they will leave and go. So if blunder is already happened in your school, again it is going to happen in other schools also. So I think we need to have that positive and broader outlook as leaders.
I am so glad that Sanjeevani is giving the heel for education as the name reflects. And I love to have an interaction with your students or teachers in one of these coming days.
Yes.
Probably to take this message. I have got tomorrow, day after tomorrow onwards, 3 days mentoring sessions for the technical education teachers. So I am into this almost 365 days. It's rare to see such a school and such an environment where probably, that's why I said the test paper. So knowingly I said that, and you said it is being implemented. Rarely we see. That is where the teachers need to be paid more. Because when they are paid good, they have a good environment, they have good students, I am sure they will never leave. Our Chanakya would not have left that village if he was taken care of well. He was one of the best teachers ever produced from India. So the role model for all teachers has to be Chanakya. Right? So he left his kingdom when the teachers were not treated properly. I can go on and on, but I don't want to, because we thought we will have first up to 8 o'clock from me and then the rest from others who are participating. We have 27 people. I'm sure I was seeing a lot of chat coming up in between. There will be a lot of questions because teachers themselves are there. Professors from engineering colleges are there. Retired principal from engineering college. Philosophy professor from Delhi is also there. So many, I'm sure. Many are there. I'm only seeing few names and then telling. It's open for any one of you to ask very specific questions. Instead of giving lectures, probably you should have pinpointed questions. Because the person who is talking has to elaborate, not the question asking person. Because generally professors have a tendency and teachers have a tendency, including me probably. I speak more. Right?
Sir, may I raise one point?
Yeah.
With your kind permission, may I raise one point, sir?
Yes, welcome.
Sir, we have the certain accreditation committees, say National Board of Accreditation, National Accreditation Assessment and Accreditation Council, NAC. When we have gone through those points, they have made the criteria. In your lecture clearly pointed out, when teachers paid well, that things will go in a systematic way. But that criteria is not at all there in the system of their accreditation system. Accreditation council also, in that board also, so nowhere is mentioned about the payments. And now colleges, most of the colleges, the private engineering colleges, private institution, private education, nobody bothers about the payments. People come, they manage the show, they get the accreditation. What we have to do on this exactly point of the payment? Here I would like to highlight one important point. If you go through the Maharashtra education, technical education system, if you say certain colleges which are established in 1985 or 90s time, out of 15 colleges, around 6 to 7 colleges are not paid the salaries for last 3 years. Nearly 3 years not paid. And how they are surviving? The question arises. In the sense, actually they are backlining of the 6 years. 50%, 25% they are releasing the amount so that they are surviving. But the backlog is increasing to 3 years. How they are going to survive? And people are going, the education institution is going, management is going for the accreditation, and accreditation they are getting. And the total system is gone out. And here I will give them one example, right example.
Professor Ravi Garu.
7 years back.
Professor Ravi Garu.
7 years back, strength is gone down.
Professor Ravi Garu.
Sir.
Please listen. I don't think.
Yeah, tell me, sir.
Dr. Seema Negi is qualified enough or authoritative in giving this answer. I was also part of engineering colleges. We know how worst is the accreditation process. There is a committee who comes and they stay in a 5-star hotel. Government doesn't pay, the management pays. They have given bags for money. Bags are given at the hotel itself. They will write whatever they asked. And I will tell you, if teachers are not getting salary, if those teachers are useless, they will continue there. If they are good, they will quit and go for some other dirty job, whichever is available in the market. Most of the engineering college teachers even don't get a electrician's job, the so-called electrical engineering professor. I'll tell you, the civil engineering professor will not be able to get a contractor's job in this country. The mechanical engineer will not be even to repair a small cycle also. If they have that ability, they will not stay without salary for 6 months in that college under a management which is actually mocking the whole education system. So AICT is a big bogus. Private academic institutions giving BTech is the biggest culprit in this world. Not even 4% of those products are useful in this country. I have visited more than 1,000 engineering colleges. Not even any AICT members would have visited that much. Starting from Kanyakumari to Hamirpur, I have gone to NITs also. So Ravi Garu, this is not the, I'll tell you, this is not the forum that for criticizing government, what is happening in private.
Further long, sir. Higher education,
No.
without experiment, they are giving the certificates.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. It is so corrupt, it is so polluted. We have a degree called the MBA, which is totally in private institutions. I was also professor of management just to get the taste of how it is running. I cannot speak like this unless I am part of it at least for some time. Just to get a taste, I was part of it. So I don't think this is not, it is not in our control. That's why I'm saying government is not at all strict in academics. Anybody can do any joke. And most of the engineering colleges, they don't have labs, they don't have teachers, they don't have qualification. They have all electronified, but no same professor. I was told many times, you give your biodata, sir, salary will be in your house, but don't come to our college. There are places where nothing is there, but they have certification and processes. So this is, I don't think Dr. Seema Negi will have an answer, because we are discussing at school level what education system is, what can be done, at least in that level, not in higher academics, in the lower academics, to make a sample academic institution where we can make a base. That is what we are discussing. Yeah.
Sir,
You can rightly say, sir.
Yeah.
I have
That's
one
why.
observation.
Then these grown-up students gone to higher level, what they feel is so much you are prepared at the school level, and higher level, nothing is there.
Yeah, that's what I am
Those-
saying. Our idea is not to criticize or to tell find faults, because you said I wanted to make it as a closing remark. Yeah.
Sir, should I ask?
Yeah, Dr. Jain, yeah.
So actually, I just have to make a few observations and a few comments also. Like, first of all, there is a sincere request not to make any kind of general statement, because see, the tradition where we belong may not allow us to teach many wrong things. So that is the first point which I want to make, because maybe we are talking so many things and mixing up together. We are talking about contemporary education system, and we are talking about where the teachers are going wrong. And so many things are, because the syllabus which has been given to over the decade, like the syllabus that is Macaulay has given to us, or whosoever has given to us to teach this line of thinking. And when you talk about a teacher, whether he is teaching mathematics or whether he is teaching political science or philosophy, they are teachers. I'll not make any general statement again. Yes, maybe some teachers are not doing their job properly, but I'm sure that if you are coming to a teaching profession, we are trying to take our own responsibility and commitment to the students, and we are trying to not I'll not say about the whole lot of teachers, but I can at least, I'm sure that most of them are trying to give their best efforts, like the subject of the humanities is concerned, because there are so many problems. We are trying to not highlighting where the problems lies. If you go to the technical institutions, they think that BTech and MTech, after doing that, you do everything. Okay, but you do not have the idea to manage the life. You do not know how to overcome the stress. And so for that reason, you have to
bring the humanities subject and see the school education. Who is responsible? Are the teachers are responsible, or the mechanism which has created and put on the teachers the imposition that you are supposed to teach the school curriculum is that instead of teaching your own value system, you teach them ABCD, and you blame the teachers. There is no such curricula where you can teach the all-round development of the students. So that is why it is just making a comment that teachers are not doing any job or teachers are not doing their best, because these ways people are running after money. So you gave them money, so there are many institutes, they are providing their mathematics. You come to the coaching institute and 1 hour you pay 1 lakh rupees, then will teach. Yes, these things are there, but who is again responsible for that? The government is responsible, the people are responsible, and the parents are responsible because they want to send their child to the private education because they think that if they will bring to the good private institute, their students will excel, or they might go to Harvard. But after coming from the Harvard, whether you are a proper individual, nobody knows. So where things are going wrong, we have to decide that. So making a kind of sweeping statement or making so many things combined together will not resolve the problems. That is my observation. And because see that when I said, I learned many things from Dr. T.P. Sasikumar sir, because teachers are trying their best. हो सकता है हमको बहुत सारे कुछ मिला नहीं teaching learning में, but we are trying, we are learning many things. I used to listen to many people and to gather, develop myself. Okay, and I am sure that many teachers are doing that. If this the name guru, we are using the English term, but if it is a guru Shishya Parampara, and our value system are already imbibed from our family, no need to teach from the problem here is that in the contemporary world, parents are not teaching the values to their own children. They are sending to the school, and school has a curriculum which doesn't speak a single line of morals, not from the Bhagavad Gita, nor from the Upanishad, nor from the Panchatantra, nor from the Jatak stories. What they will do? Neither the child is responsible, nor the teachers are responsible. We are trying our best. We are supposed to complete the syllabus within a particular, but I am supposed to teach the continental philosophy. But thoda bahut I am trying to do that, coming back everything I am trying to bring them what you should do for a good life, healthy life, how you can remain happy. That is not my syllabus, but I am trying because I am learning from others. So why I am telling that? Because it's making a kind of, because who is responsible? Macaulay is responsible. The whole Indian education system is responsible. We are not able to provide a good curriculum. Yes, I agree with you. We are not producing the ideal human being. We are making them professionals. But apart from that, we are not doing anything. So that point I agree with you. But there are lot many things to do that everybody has to take the responsibility. Right? So
I think Dr. Seema, you should give a comment on
yes,
that.
I would like to add something. I think I very openly said that till the time each one of us, I am a principal of a school, director, principal heading a school, and I said each one of us have to take the responsibility. It is neither student nor teacher nor parents. Why do we distinct ourselves with such big lines? Students one side, parents one side, teachers one side. Whom are we working for? What is the main purpose of our existence? And I'm asking this, the purpose of my existence or the purpose of my position, it is because of students. If students are not there, who am I? If students are not there, if children are not there, children are the main happiness quotient of their parents. Why can't we work in collaboration? We have to work in collaboration. We have to learn from each other. And it's okay. I don't mind whichever subject. If we are teaching history, let me take the example of history. History is the best subject to teach all the moral values. You don't have to go to any moral value class. You teach about any ruler, you teach about any administrative system, you can teach entire moral education with your history. Why can't you teach bravery with Rani Lakshmi Bai? Why can't you teach inclusion with the examples of Akbar? We can teach everything with that. We really do not need to go out. When we talk about Bhagavad Gita is the way of life. Why can't we simply have a shloka written on our board, and for 1 week we just quickly recite that shloka? I'll give you a very simple example. When one teacher goes out of the class and second teacher comes, we have a simple system either to sit in Dhyan Mudra or Dhyan Mudra. Okay? Now this is not something which will take a lot of time. When a teacher has gone and other teacher will come, in between students now know they have to sit in Dhyan Mudra or Dhyan Mudra. Because we wanted this to come to our system, we taught them. And we practice for that. So we have to. There are so many schools are practicing Shunya moment or Alpa Viram, wherein the entire school becomes quiet because that is the meditation time. We don't have to look for mindfulness. Again, everything is there in our country. We have such strong system. Doesn't matter who has given us education system, who has written the books for us. Why do we look at Taj Mahal and Qutub Minar as history? Isn't Taj Mahal and Qutub Minar complete science, complete math? How do you make such big monument if you do not know about your science and math? You don't know the weather condition, you do not know about the weathering of the stone, you do not know the angles. What we need to do is, I think all the boards, they give us that much of liberty that till grade 8, we can teach children with lot of integration. 9th and 10th are board class. We can then make them ready for board class. Then we can put our, by only heart and soul, heart, soul, kidney, lungs, everything, and teachers are doing that. Teachers have shown the world that they have not left education behind. That is why this pandemic is successful. Otherwise you see, who has not gone out of their way? Have you not seen while taking your online classes that, okay, in a particular house, you have seen a grandmother lying behind, coughing or not feeling well, and many of the teachers have called up the parents and asked, is everything all right at your home? Aren't we the teacher who have actually called students and asked, okay, do not worry, even if you stay in a small house, that is perfectly all right. You do not have to feel inferior about that, because what is important is your learning. So teachers are breaking the barriers, but at the same time, each one of us, I'm sorry to say, but each one of us is responsible if our children are not getting the right education. It doesn't matter whether you are in a metropolitan school or you are in a tier 2 or tier 3 school. It's all of us who matters. Maybe if there is one stale apple or one spoiled fish, but then if everybody is getting spoiled because of that, then everybody was responsible. All of us were there in that pond. Why didn't we try to go out of the pond and look for a better opportunity? We don't have to stay there to stink. We have to make the change. And change comes when our words, actions are in every day we need respect. What are we doing? Have we done a teacher? That's my philosophy. Again, my views are personal. My philosophy is a teacher who gives the children something more than homework to think. We have given them homework, we have to give education policy demand, this is the syllabus we have to give. Can't we give them 1 point to think? All our children, even because of this digital divide, also our children have mobiles. Everybody is using WhatsApp, everybody has internet these days. Can't we give them something to think about? Can't the tinkering be provided? And from that only, the leaders of tomorrows are made. That push is needed. That is what we have to do, and I'm very sure each one of you are doing that. Each one of you, including me, I'm also doing.
But I'm sure Dr. Jayanti Sahu is a blessed teacher, and she was having lot of great teachers around them. But don't think that the whole India is like that. When Dr. Seema Negi is talking about the tuition, I did this. That is because I have seen many institutions where including the principal ask those students, go for tuitions. And most of the teachers teaching in the classroom, they start a tuition center next opposite. It's one of the biggest virus in most of the Gulf countries, because the teachers are paid less. They have to extra earning through tuitions. And parents don't have time to take care of them. As soon as the class is over, they go to tuition center, so that's another resting place. It's like a day shelter for them. So you cannot close your eyes when there are problems and say everything is all right. If everything is all right, I will tell you, every BTech fellow writes a thesis which says that it is his own invention, never been published like this anywhere. India would have had 4 lakhs patents every year, minimum, in technology. Everybody who signs, everybody who evaluates, everybody who grants degree knows this is only in the printing press, they print it, the fellow has not even seen that book. So it is not everything is correct and everything is true. If that is what we want to agree, I think all these discussions are useless. We know what is happening in, there are few good teachers, but that is only handful, not as great. Otherwise people don't go for IAS coaching center. Yeah, imagine collectors, you want to become a collector, you are in a tuition center one day earlier also, and you want to be after MBBS you want to go for masters, you are in a coaching center again. After BTech for MTech you are in a coaching center, and they pay for 1 month program a lakh of rupees, where that their original teachers did not pay that much. That, as Dr. Ravi was telling, the tuition teachers are paid a lakh, but not the teachers. And what is that? There is no test and procedure. That's only we are criticizing. So that is part of the government system, and we keep on finding fault with one Macaulay who came once upon a time. We are 70 years. In your life you did not change, still you want to say your grandfather was bad. I think we should change. There is no point in saying that no, somebody was bad, everything was bad once upon a time, therefore we are continuing that. We have every freedom to change. So we are looking for that change. We cannot change philosophy, we cannot change system, but we can change at least now Dr. Seema is showing an example. I'm sure if somebody wanted to make us as an example, you have got somebody where you can take a cue from. That is only what we are trying to propagate. So it's that effort we are discussing. Yeah, if anybody has got any more questions. It's good that Dr. Jayanti spelled it out, and then therefore no, Dr. Seema could answer it, and therefore some more things became more clear.
Because see, the kind of zeal and enthusiasm she has to learn, I mean, that is what she has. That is what making her a different individual, a better version of herself.
No, Dr. Seema, that is because every good teacher is a good parent.
Right.
And every good parent and every good teacher is a good student throughout life. But rarely we see such a masala.
Right.
Right?
True.
Which is actually the garam masala in
We
the
don't have
education
so many examples
system.
like
So many
Jayanti right
examples
now
are.
here.
Yeah.
She's the one who is enthusiastic learner. She's a lifelong learner. With her attitude, we can find out. But do we have all the teachers who have this kind of attitude?
That's only what we said. Yeah.
That is what.
So I'll tell you, the other day I was talking to one of the schools and asked what is behind your generally principals sit for a webinar. Behind there will be a shelf, and most of the schools when I go I have seen only trophies. I said, are you popularizing awards and rewards? I like to see behind you lot of beautiful books which are general knowledge. And only 1 or 2 schools, I'll tell you, out of 1,000 schools I have seen only 1 or 2 schools where principal room is filled with, I have not seen your room. Show me once, I will come there.
I'll make you show that.
But before that, fill it up with the good books. I remember we had
I will not change anything.
I will tell you, we had a member of parliament from Kerala who went with the big books to Kalam as a gift. So immediately Kalam said, all these books are old. He was a professor. So he thought, let me give some books to Kalam and then make him happy. He said, all these are old books. I will give you better books. And Kalam gifted some more books to that professor. So I'll tell you, you have to be a good reader. A teacher has to be a good reader. Otherwise, they won't propagate this learning ability to others. I'll tell you, if you don't have time to read, at least see some movies, biographies. An engineer turns to a teacher. That's a beautiful movie. An engineer by passion becomes a teacher in a small school, and then though he got a better salary, better job, he did not go because he was passionate for teaching. There are beautiful lot of movies. You look at one of my talk for principals in Chennai. I think that was in 2018, January 5th. beautiful. I have shown array of movies only in the first half of my talk. Which are all the movies which actually motivate teachers to become good teachers? They're all Amitabh Bachchan's beautiful movies there. 2 movies are there. It's all beautiful movies against tuition, right? So I'll tell you, teachers have to look at what is that students require, what is that society require, what changes are happening, and imbibe that in education. That is, rarely we see like Dr. Jayanti or Dr. Seema. Good. Some more questions. So I'm only filling the gap until somebody shows hand. We have got another 5 more minutes. Yeah, Krishna. Yeah.
Actually, it is predicted that the online education industry will touch $1,000 billion by 2030 or a few years more maybe. So what is your view on that? Like, how will that impact education?
So we have to be like a river, okay, free flowing. If education has to go to a different landscape that is online, we do not know how long this pandemic is going to stay. We do not know how long this condition is going to stay. We have to adapt, okay, and we have to adapt and move ahead. But the day schools open and children come back, our biggest responsibilities start there, because then we will not be just teachers. We will be more of counselors, because these children were confined to their homes for a very long time. Then each and every school's roles and each and every teacher roles become so different. And that is the time when you can very well integrate the best of technology and the best of your traditional teaching learning. Why do we need to eliminate technology from our students' life now? When they have already learnt it, we can minimize it, okay? But why to eliminate that? Initially, I mean, the famous joke is we used to tell children to stay away from mobile. Then came the pandemic and we said, okay, all the children with gadget only. So why not we now balance it out? Students have understood one thing, that anywhere, anytime learning is there. Okay, sitting here, we can do our diploma from Harvard University. Have we ever thought about that? We have never thought about that. So my concern is bring the best. Yes, this industry is going to rapidly grow. If we, somewhere down the line, we as teachers do not provide them that stimulation which is needed, because ultimately we all are human, and human needs social emotional learning. If your social emotional connect is good with the child, in a very simple term, if the child likes you, the child likes your subject. So a pre-primary teacher, we always tell them, first 1 month, make the children fall in love with you, and then your pre-primary is set. So that is what we have to do. The moment your children will come back running to the school and your school gates will open, please welcome them with open heart and open hands. And that is what is needed. That bond, no technology can provide. No technology. And we are humans at the end of the day. We are still not robots or machines. We need that. We need that belonging. We need that comfort. We need that connect. That is really needed. But this industry will grow, because the industries are going, pharmaceutical industry and education industry, especially these technological modes, they are going to grow. And that is how the change comes.
Dr. Seema, in 2007, when I wrote this book, E-Web Net Learning, Adaptive Learning, after my program on CEC, Consortium for Educational Communication in Delhi, I wrote this book. There were no takers. They don't want to touch. I kept on telling the ticket booking center in the railway station became electronic. Normal bus conductor started electronic. The milk vendor is electronic, but teachers did not change. Thanks to pandemic, thanks to corona, teachers started using these gadgets. But still, augmented reality, when it says that it is industry in education, don't think that your class teaching has become PowerPoint presentation and your webinar started coming onto internet. That is not educational technology at all. Educational technology uses artificial intelligence, it uses augmented reality, it uses machine learning, it uses many advanced versions of activities. That is what I learned from MIT in 2007, which I documented here. But two people are affected. Maybe the school education, humanities studies, lectures where it is required, it's fantastic. But imagine medical college, imagine what happened to technology with where labs are required. Imagine what happens to age 3 to grade 3, where e-learning will not be applicable. That is why I had a dream of starting a grandma child care Shiksha center. We have been propagating it to have clusters at different places and then start family gathering along with the teacher support. Make them to learn at home with a lot of hand activities. The actual system of learning is not on computer and typing. There are a lot of craft which can be done in the childhood where your hand is working. You become like a craftsmanship is what is essentially required to become even a thinker. Most of the great philosophers, great politicians, great doctors, great thinkers, all of them had some passion for using their hands and arts. That needs to be taught not online. It has to be offline only. So you could have a education system which I called it as grandma. One of the sample center we had started in Kerala much before all these problems started. We had a lot of dialogue, but there is a great lethargy in the parents. That's what I'm saying. It has been so much commercialized. Unless you have a big banner, unless you have a business model, people don't accept. A service model education is out of question in this world because business is what is to be propagated. Lot of advertisement. That is what is lack. We are into that sort of a trauma. Even with this, we are not learning that lesson. I don't think the parents are not learning, teachers are not learning. Therefore, yeah, let it come. After the pandemic, we will start. But what gap these children had from age 3 to grade 3 is not going to be filled up. It is a big generation gap. I'll tell you, these children will have a lot of psychological problem because their social skills have to be developed. That is lost. When we learn psychology, we learn baby psychology, early childhood psychology, then it goes into different level. We have a lot of problems. The teenagers have a lot different problem. Every day, half day I am spending for people on counseling. We see a lot of problems at home. It is not that easily certain that we can say and then say no problem. There are a lot of problems which are not even handled by the so-called education system we have in the framework. Now students say that they don't have exams, so they are very happy. They don't want to write exam. Finished. Where is the test for learning? And they are all getting into +1, +2. I am sure they will also get into engineering colleges. Even with all these examination test paper, I told you 4% is only useful. Now the next you will see the result of this after 4 years. If this continues, we are not equipped as the education system in the Western country. They are all equipped at home tuition. Most of the parents at home make their children to learn at home. That is part of their culture and system. We don't have such parents where they can patch up this gap. Unless we make small clusters and start something new, it doesn't work. This is what I feel. Any more questions? Any more comments? Yeah, Aditi. If you show your face, that will be good. Yeah.
Sir, there will be a network list. Therefore,
yeah, fine. You introduce yourself at least.
Yeah, ma'am, I am a philosophy honors student. I'm pursuing it from Delhi University. Ma'am, my question to you is, ma'am, I just want you to answer in yes and no, and then I'll follow up with the main question. Do you think that the only way how you can validate a teacher's learning skills or maybe teaching abilities is through a valid degree?
No.
Ma'am, therefore, if that being the answer, you said that the idea of tuitions should be scrapped off and we should not go to tuitions, but I think you know about Anand Kumar, the Super 30 guy,
yes.
right?
Yes.
He did not have any qualification as a teacher, but he did have knowledge of his own subject, and therefore he could produce, like, you know, the giant number of people that he has produced, kids who are acing at their thing. Apart from that, there is one more reason that we need tuitions, would be that CBSE doesn't fulfill the syllabus that is needed for entrance exams, and then you resort to other non-formal forms of teaching. So how do you think that something like this can be, scraped off, or maybe how can these problems be made up to?
So Aditi, that is what I think we were deliberating since beginning, that it's government who needs to really work out on that. When you have policy makers who have no connection with academics, there is a big gap, and that gap is there. Why can't a child learn everything in school only? Why the child have to go to a parallel model of learning? Why the moment the child goes home, the child has to go for tuition? Why these gaps are not filled by school? So why our education system is not so powerful and enriched? So if changes needs to be done, why can't we just change the thing so that we are making a child ready for all the competitive examination by the time the child moves out of the school? So the thing is, these gaps need to be filled. And as far as this tuition is needed, or you're talking about, say, Super 30, we do not have everyone who has that kind of passion. That is why people like Anand Kumar become legend, because they have taken a route which was not very conventional. Not everybody does that. Now, let me give you an example of international school where B.Ed is not necessary to become a teacher. It's your skills, it's your attitude towards learning, it's your attitude about sharing your knowledge in diverse way that makes you a good teacher. When we talk about a CBSE school, ICSE school, or say SSE school, wherein this norm is needed, that okay, you need to be a B.Ed teacher, but more than B.Ed a teacher is, B.Ed is just a degree so that okay, you can be a teacher. B.Ed doesn't qualify that you will be a good teacher. There's a difference between that. That's the difference that we have to identify, and each one of us have to become that good teacher which is beyond B.Ed. We become complacent, Aditi, honestly. We become complacent. We feel, okay, job, this is the syllabus. Why to experiment with it? Taj Mahal this way, we'll teach it this way only. And Qutub Minar this way, we'll teach it this way only. We do not bring that innovation in our classroom because we have this closed mindset. That is why our child has to look for alternative ways of learning. That is why the child goes. Not a child's fault at all. Here the child is not at fault. If we have to blame someone, I will openly blame education, the people who are related to education and the people who are parents. I am a parent also, I am an educator also. It's we who are putting that much of pressure on the child. How many times we say that, okay, I'm very happy my child is reaching home, taking bag, going to play football or learning keyboard or learning music, doing this or that. No, we will definitely come for the PTM and say, this child comes home, takes the bag and goes to play cricket, wherein we want him to study for 3 hours. So somewhere down the line, this change needs to come from us. Together, we have to take the responsibility. If we want to bring up a generation who is going to lead our country, the change needs to come from us. My views are little revolutionary at times, but these are individual views.
I think Dr. Seema, I will make it more revolutionary. Just because you can drive in the center of Bombay when the traffic is too heavy, harsh, without a driving license, that doesn't mean you need not have license to drive in this world. Number one. Number two, if somebody is learning different syllabus, different subjects up to 10th class, the teaching has become so poor, we are only taking them on different road and then showing them how to cycle on that road. We are never teaching them how to cycle on a different road. Therefore, you are not learning cycling, you are only taking them through different maths, physics, chemistry, different classes. So far you have learned up to 10th class with the different classes. I think every student must have the ability to learn by themselves. If that ability is not there, I keep telling, I'll tell you, I went to one of the colleges where the media, social media, good or bad, was the dialogue. I was asked to speak, it is against social media. I said I cannot speak against it because I am already a person who wrote a book on social media and how effectively it can be used. That was 20 years back I wrote it. And then immediately the other person who was supposed to speak against it, they said they can change it because he was an advocate. He can speak on any way. But then after having half a day deliberation, I was paid from Hyderabad to Kochi on airfare. I felt so annoyed. There is nothing which I added to my half day is waste, I said. It was, anyway, I got a lot of claps, but I am not making anything great. So I was asking, what are the different courses you have? Do you have classes running? And one of my relatives happened to be the head of physics. So I asked him, what is that you can do? Do you have your children here? I want to teach something and today so that I will feel happy at the end of the day. So afternoon I had a class for MPhil physics because they didn't have teachers for teaching one specific subject in MPhil. I finished the whole syllabus in 1.5 day. MPhil syllabus, physics, one paper I finished a half day. I said, teacher said, no, you are not supposed to, you should have 80 hours. I said, no, I finished. Now the children can learn. Now anybody who is conducting examination can conduct exam after 1 month, check if they are good or bad. Conducted, they all became very good. That's good enough. See, what you have to do is to make them to ride themselves on that road. I don't think why teachers have to teach so much and finish the syllabus. They're all worried about finishing syllabus. Somehow finish the syllabus. Students can read themselves and learn. Let them finish the syllabus. Finishing syllabus is not. See, that is why I am saying teachers don't have this freedom because they are asked to do this. They are doing it. But if Chandrababu Naidu had a very big question, let me conduct examination in 10th class and see how many of your students are passing. If your students pass, then only salary for you. If they fail, no salary because your product is bad. You have not done your job. Next election, he failed just because of that. So I'll tell you, teachers should take it as a challenge. I will teach. Anybody else can come and test them, see whether they got knowledge. Irrespective of what syllabus, idea is to equip them to write. See, SAT examination in America I gave coaching. AP schooling is one of the general subjects which American people, I don't take full syllabus. I will only take them few classes and say, this is how you should learn it. Then the rest is with them. If that is how you should do it. You should not hold the cycle throughout their journey. Only first few kilometers, then leave them. There can be ups and downs. You may fall also. Doesn't matter. You will have to come back to your rail. So it doesn't matter whether. And yes, B.Ed is also teaches psychology. They will also teach us education psychology. I was teaching B.Ed in many programs. Educational technology is one subject which I used to teach in many because there were no teachers to teach those days. 10-20 years back I used to go to B.Ed colleges and then teach educational technology. Psychology is one which they learn. But as Dr. Seema in beginning she said, it's only theory. In the class it doesn't happen. That's our failure probably. The system failure. Right? Yeah. I couldn't stop answering some of them because I am totally into academics and education for last so many years.
But those were very insightful inputs, no doubt.
Any more questions or any more comments? Because education is such a system all of us have gone through. If you say IT, agriculture, everybody has not put our hands there. Because everybody has grown up in academics. Seeing lot of teachers, you learn how to teach. And if you have not learned that, you are not a good teacher at all. The other day I was talking to one MBBS student. Yesterday also I think I told somewhere. One MBBS student immediately said she wants to become a teacher or a doctor. I blessed her, you be a doctor. Because every doctor is a teacher by profession. Every patient she has to teach. And there is a simile between the teachers and the doctors, I keep saying. Two terminologies are used in education and in medical science. Examination and test. That can be blood exam or the urine test. But here also we have blood exam. Your parameters may be wrong in mathematics, but still the teachers will discharge them and transfer to the next class. But doctors, unless they are treated and then certified their parameters are clean, they will not discharge them. So I think teachers have to become better doctors type, where they will not discharge from grade 2 to grade 3 unless every parameter is 100% perfect. That is what is required. If that can be done, our education system becomes clean. And I will tell you, I went to Osmania University economics department to teach. I asked a few basic economics questions they could answer. They are master students. But then I'm asking professor, will they become MA? 100% they will become. I asked not when you conduct exam, you evaluate. If some other standard fellow comes and tests, said none of them will pass. The professor himself is saying, our students will not pass if normally the exams are conducted. Because our evaluation system has become so poor, university has to make many people pass, otherwise university will not run because everything is business. Who will join in a university? Everybody fails. Because IIT is also a business. IIM is also a business. So academics has become a business where people, most of the autonomous universities, who is conducting exam? They are setting question paper, they are conducting exam, they are giving degrees. That is why after BTech, our Infosys is giving 6 months training in basic mathematics and English. And most of them fail, they will repeat again. 6 months, 6 months, 6 months. 6 months, if they don't pass, they are thrown out. Therefore, Infosys recruits 3 times more than the real requirement. Because they don't have time to keep them for longer. So it is essential that we need to have change. I am sure Dr. Seema is piloting in that. We need lot of such, that's why I asked, is it only in Bombay? We need to have multiple places. I am sure Ravi joined somewhere, he was here. Ravi is the person who connected, correct? Both of us?
He was here in between. I think right
he
now
left,
he's not here.
So probably we have lot of teacher educators, groups. We need to think how this can be percolated irrespective of the management, irrespective of the syllabus. Many people say, my LKG is CBSE. I keep saying CBSE starts only in 9th class.
Right.
Up to 8th class, there is no syllabus at all. No state, no central, no CBSE. But still they will write kindergarten, CBSE. We don't even have a case against them, no. Actually, it is a daylight stealing or maybe cheating people. That is why I am saying public are not aware of the real inside education system, what is happening. Correct? So that is why we need to have a real change which happens with actions on ground. So I am so glad that we could meet. Because of Ravi, I met Seema, and then when we had a dialogue, I felt, yeah, this is where we should make some change in academics. Good. So if no more questions, I think we will call it a day.
So thank you, sir. And thank you everyone who was here for almost more than an hour now. I think, yes, more than an hour. See,
1.5 hours.
Yes, we all have some qualities. What is needed is we might be just a drop in the ocean. We have to come together. The day we come together, we are the mightiest ocean. And that is needed. It is not about telling who is wrong or who is right. It is about if it is right, do it together. If it is wrong, let's change ourselves and do what is right. Ultimately, we have a very big responsibility. We are educators. Either do it with passion or do not do it. Very simple. Though I know saying is much simpler than implementing it, but that is something that at least we can try. Otherwise, teaching is not the profession we should come to. There are many other professions. We should not play with any child's life. We should not play with these tender lives who are going to shape up our future later. So to have a better future for ourselves, I think we need to nurture them properly. Give them strong roots and the mightiest of the wings.
Dr. Seema, do you know the comparison between a station master and a school master?
No, sir.
There is a great saying, station master minds the trains and schoolmaster trains the minds.
Trains the mind. Lovely.
Okay. So it is not giving certificates, it's the mind training. Right. You are creating a sensible person. An individual becomes a citizen so that this country will become a great nation tomorrow. So what India needs is a well-educated youth. We lost this. We can't say we didn't lost. We lost it. It has become only commercial. It has become only avidya, not savidya. Education has become a competition than sharing. It's become a big race getting who is first because trophies are displayed. All that has to go. What is essential is what is the essence in you, so that you enjoy your life. You learn and do everything in passion. I'm sure then a KG teacher also becomes a PG teacher. Not only the KG students become PG, the KG teacher also becomes a real PG teacher. Right?
True.
That is what is essential. So glad that Seema opened up different views on education. I'm sure we cannot think of tomorrow without doing some postmortem on the past. But past is only to say that, give a good feel. Yeah, I am great. My grandfather was great. And I have to keep that forward. But it doesn't mean I will drink water from the old pond which is not usable today. But we will dig a better well, maybe a different system of supplying water. So thank you, Seema, for that beautiful river flowing, giving different thoughts. And thank you, Dr. Jayanti and Dr. Ravi and Aditi and who else asked? Yeah, Krishna, who all participated in the discussions. Thank you. Thanks a lot. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir.
So tomorrow we will see with a different person on a different topic. So we will continue this until 13th August. Then what I plan to do is probably we will have a group of people who will discuss on what action item we can take from these thoughts which are generated. That is what we plan to do. We don't want to end up in philosophical lectures, and we want to create some sort of an activity which probably will show as a sample. One was agriculture, which I wanted to initiate. Second one was Grandma Shiksha Center, where no classroom partitioned, grade 3 to age 3. Informally, in every street we have small center where parents, teachers, everybody can share the knowledge and have a common place where children can play. Maybe parents can come and spend some time. This is what one dream I had. Probably we'll see somewhere some model is created. At least one or two is good enough. That's what we think we will have. Maybe at the last 2 days we have got a few students. Aditi joined today. I'm so happy. Though I was pressing for those children who are speaking. And we have Vaishnavi, we have many, Nila, all of them. The students who are participating here are also going to talk. It will be almost like a recap of what happened and what can be, because they are the people who have to take. I may not be there. The next generation ends very fast. It is not 21st century, it is going to be third decade of 21st century, and fourth decades are in their hands. So I'm sure they are the torch bearers of these lights which probably triggered by Dr. Seema sort of people. Thank you. God bless you. See you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.